People at the helms of affairs is not thinking that. What do? We go to abroad. You see our presidents and governors jumping into public vehicles. But here, no. They go there, you see them obeying traffic rules. But here, no. That is the problem we have here. Everybody wants to lord it over the rest of the people. We are suffering in the midst of where we have plenty. The whole of Europe as a whole. Do you know that the whole of Europe, that Nigeria is bigger than them in terms of resources, both solid and mineral resources, both solid and soft? Do you quantify it? China subsidized food at 150 billion this year alone. But Nigeria is removing fuel subsidy, removing electricity subsidy, removing everything. You are paying the taxes. This is a country where your GSTV is not pay as you go, but in South Africa it's pay as you go. Because the parliaments here are using it free for one year. So you are not the one paying at their own expense.
In my own perspective, presidential system of government is the kind of government in which people, the masses, vote for who to be the president, and the president has the executive power to control a country. This is a kind of good idea because it will save cost. Because you know that now most of our finances or our money is being spent by the executive, the president, having the Senate president and the House of Rep and the rest of the Nigeria. But now when we shift to Parliamentary System of government, it reduces the power of the president, which is the executive. And now we have a prime minister that will control the affairs of the country. I think by each region we know how to develop the region by themselves or through the help of the prime minister. It will save the country at least maybe a cost in time of governance or governance.
The idea is to reduce cost of governance.
Yes.
So
good.
They should have started from themselves.
But if they are saying the system is choking,
the system they are controlling,
the system is expensive.
If they have said a number of them are saying in unison, this is not good. It's not fair to the system. In the system that the minimum wage is 30,000 naira, and one person is taking an official car of 100 and something million naira. What justifies the person sincerity?
The fact,
we are not talking about altruistic individuals being sincere to the system they are committed to.
Okay.
It's not about the system we operate. Yes, one system definitely better than the other.
Okay.
But we're talking about the people who operate the system. How sincere are they? How did they even get to where they are? We saw what happened in the tribunals and the elections. And I don't think I expect anything good to come out of what we got, because the process was quite faulty. Well, it's a legislative, it takes that legislative process. But even I don't think it's our problem. That's what I'm saying. It's not just about the system. So to me, it's more of distraction to Nigerians, because we have a bunch of leaders that are not sincere. That's my own opinion personally.
The problem Nigeria have, if we should be talking about parliamentary or presidential system of government, am I communicating? It's not about what system we want to operate. It is having the willpower to apply what is written in what is in the context of whatever we are applying for. Take it from this angle. You are a married man, or you want to marry, right? You are now entering into what is called parliamentary marriage. Let us use that word. Now, what do? You expect that woman will come and give birth to children, is it not so? You too, you play your role as a father. But if you now marry, you are not playing your role as a father. What's the sense of that marriage? Now, in parliamentary or presidential system of government, there are enshrined laws that governs and guide them. US is practicing a presidential system of government, but yet they develop powers to the states. They develop at their own pace. They run their project at their own pace. Britain is practicing a parliamentary system of government, which now that Nigeria is talking about, am I communicating, is still working. You will now see that the Prime Minister will not weigh himself with too much powers, too much PAs. You were a live witness when the former Prime Minister was removed from David Cameron, who is now the Foreign Affairs Minister. The day he was going from the office to his house, who escorted him home? That is what we are talking about. It is going to apply the principles that governs and the guides. But here in this country, the quest of power has eaten too deep into the fabric of our loins, that even when you talk about parliamentary system of government, The people have the mentality of wedding power to themselves, wedding affluence, wedding this, in order to put the people at the downtrodden. Am I communicating? Otherwise, Wales is developing at its own space. Irish Islands are developing at its own space. Each and every one of them that migrate to Britain and what you have as UK is developing at its own space, right? Under parliamentary system of government. Under presidential system of government, America, California, in the United States of America, California is developing, Philadelphia is developing at its own space, Dallas is developing at its own space. Is it not so? Then they still have Mr. President. They still have their parliaments still working, the lower house and the upper chambers. Then the judiciary and what have you. Today, is it the same thing? Whatever we are borrowing, whatever government we want to borrow, we should be borrowing to do and carry out to the letter. What is capital project? Capital project in its fairness and its sincere analysis is that now states are developing at their own space. If you are bringing 40%, which is even too big for the federal, now the federal will say, I want to put up ports here, I want to put this. That is what is now federal. You now see that in Taraba, there is a federal port. In Lagos, there is a federal port. In Kwara, there is a federal port. In Imo, in Ebwe, which is federal port. Because all of them are bringing something to the center. Am I communicating? Otherwise, states can develop on its own space without even waiting for this federal project, capital project.
So in a nutshell, do you think this may not work? Or
see, it is advisable. It is welcome development if they will apply the principles that governs it. It's not all about, like I've said, it's not all about getting married. It's about doing the needful that surround the principles of marriage life. Is it not so? That's what I'm trying to do. Not when you marry, start beginning to live like a single person. Nigeria is like a place where nobody is thinking.
Let me flash back to just abbreviation. In 1960, when Nigeria have independence, we practiced parliamentary. The reason behind this is late Sardauna, blessed memory, Balewa, blessed memory, and late Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of Nigeria, and Awolowo, the secretary to the government. These are the people who anchor parliamentary, and it works. The reason behind is this. Then there's no corruption. Then they listen to each other. Then they know the credibility and the good people who can serve, who can represent the good people of Nigeria. But before the presidential now take over the parliamentary on purpose, so it's a long story. But let me just tell you today, and my brother, it cannot work. Today, if the House now says they should go back the parliamentary, the greed cannot let it work. The greed today is overwhelming Nigeria politics. It is not corruption. Yes, there's a corruption. It's a mere corruption. The corruption is just 20%. The greed is 80%. So it will not work because those who say those people that hammering to go back to parliamentary, they are not carried along. These are the people that are elected legitimately from their own constituency, very constituency. Those who say they should practice presidential is those who elected by their money. It's not what people want. So if it can happen, they should go back to parliamentary. It will kudos to Nigeria, but it cannot work because corruption will not allow it to work. So this is what I can, my opinion.
I think it's a good idea, and moving to a parliamentary system, which means they will centralize the power. So which means a lot of sectors are going to get more power to be able to act and carry out their duties. So now I don't feel the presidential system, people who are in the presidential system already would want that. So there will be a power tussle between them, whether we should move to parliamentary or to presidential. But for me, I feel parliamentary is better because it will centralize power and everybody, a lot of people will be involved in the decision making of the country. I think it's possible if the right people are there to make the right decision. But with the current system, I would give it a 30% chance. It's not that I don't feel it's really achievable, but I think we need to achieve something like that.